Ashes news, and England have been celebrating after picking up a silver medal in the Lord's Test. Not such a bad result after not entirely backing up their excellent performance in Cardiff. Scientists have now analysed the match and concluded that England actually suffered from having too much momentum after the first Test, resulting in the momentum swinging a full 360 and clunking them round the back of the head like a clown's frying pan. In mitigation, the Lord's pitch was absolutely unplayable whilst England were batting on it. Seemed alright whilst Australia were on it. I didn't think that was particularly fair. It was the quickest England had been bowled out in a Lord's Test since 1888, when they were skittled in both innings by Australia and went on to win the next two Tests, England by an innings, to clinch the Ashes. So thanks to the ECB statistical wonks, everything now bang on course. Mitchell Johnson, of course, the star man. He didn't so much make the ball talk as make the ball growl like a man-eating wildebeest. England did not respond particularly well to that. But let's look at the stats. So far in this series, Mitchell Johnson is Australia's fourth highest wicket taker, with the fourth best economy rate, the fifth best average, and the fifth best strike rate. Surely now he will be dropped for Edgbaston. Don't fight the stats, Australia. Please, don't fight the stats. Sri Lanka and Pakistan have just finished their one-day series. Pakistan won 3-2, led by Azhar Ali, the man voted, of course, batsman least likely to spearhead his nation's charge to ODI success in the new era of unstoppably rapid run scoring. A bit of a niche award, but a gong's a gong. He's basically become the Pakistan Chris Gayle, but different and not that much like him, but more consistent. For Sri Lanka, Dilshan passed the 10,000 ODI runs barrier. That is a lot of dill scoops that he's managed to narrowly avoid his face with. You have to admire that level of technique. Bangladesh and South Africa drew the first Test. It was evenly poised after 3 days. Good showing by Bangladesh, a first innings lead of 78. That was their biggest lead after the first innings when batting second. But unfortunately, the last 2 days were very unluckily washed out by the entirely scheduled annual monsoon season, doing what monsoon seasons so often do. So what would have been the result had that rain not happened? How do you find out what would have happened? Well, you have to check the tea leaves. I will do that now. It would have been a tie. Sensational. It would have been only the third tie in Test match history. What a shame that was avoided by those entirely scheduled bits of weather.
So, Doc, we bounced back, and we bounced back harder than one of Alan Stanford's chicks. You guys are in trouble.
Turn it up, Frederick. Wait till we get you on a proper English pitch.
Oh, what? Have the ECB invested in a time machine to take you back to when pace and bounce was legal?
These mountain players should count their lucky jockstraps. We used to play on absolute snake pits.
Oh, those were the days.
Pakistan have pulled out of a series against Zimbabwe in case they lose to Zimbabwe. And those losses against Zimbabwe would mean that they don't qualify for the Champions Trophy. I mean, Andy, it's literally called Champions Trophy, not Cowards Trophy. And they're not playing, Zimbabwe. Sorry, I forgot to look at you that time. So now they're going to have to feel the full force of the ICC, or who probably don't care.
Well, I think that's a very cynical view, Jared. Two things. One, it's called the Champions Trophy. If you take it literally, there should only be one team in it, which is the team that won it last time, which, of course, was India, so it's probably what the BCCI would go for. And two, Pakistan actually has some very sound reasons for not playing this series in Zimbabwe. One, their captain, Azhar Ali, famously allergic to large African waterfalls. He can't possibly risk that as captain. Two, they're all preparing their dance routines for the Fool Festival, I've been reliably informed. Yeah, that is now confirmed. Shoaib Malik working on his freestyle crunking. That's a fact. Also, the World Volleyball Championships is on, so Mohammed Irfan, he's actually being used as a celebrity net. Whilst Mohammed Hafiz is preparing a Wallace and Gromit themed birthday party extravaganza for Rahat Ali on his birthday, of course, the 12th of September. He's going to be 27, so he doesn't want to miss that one. And also, it's the World Rowing Championships in September. So
rowing. It doesn't really matter what the reasons Pakistan have or don't have for cancelling this series, as no one running the ICC seems to care or even remember what the initials FTP stand for.
Well, obviously FTP stands for the new Sri Lankan reality TV show, Finding Tishara Perera.
This week on Finding Tishara Perera, Angelo Matthews looks for Tishara Perera.
Hello, and welcome to Zolt's Talk, in which I interview some of the leading figures in the game today. This week I'm talking to one of the most controversial figures in the game. My guest has been accused of being unfair, bad for cricket and simply not fit for purpose? No, it's not who you're thinking of. No, it's not them either, or him. No, my guest is, of course, the Lord's Pitch. Lord's Pitch, thank you very much for joining us.
Andy.
Now, you were, of course, the controversial surface on which the second Ashes Test was played. Can you tell us how have things been for you since then?
It has been very hard for me. I took a lot of criticism from many sides. I have had to go into hiding, grow my grass out so no one recognizes me, and gives me the jip for the slow pace. Try to get back to being just a normal 22-yard strip of turf.
Do you think those criticisms were unfair, that you were too slow, had as much life as a nursing home that had been abandoned for 200 years, that you neutralised England's bowlers and in fact favoured the Australians?
Look, Andy, I admit, I was not at my best. You know how it makes a test match pitch feel when it is 330 for 1 at the end of day 1? Bad, Andy, very bad. I am pitch at home of cricket. I want to be loved.
So, Lord's Pitch, can you confirm, once and for all, were you under instructions to neutralise the Australian pace attack?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. But look, Andy, when a team is bowled out in 37 overs, maybe pitch not too flat and boring. Maybe England bowling too flat and boring. Maybe England batting is just, how you say, pile of something.
OK, keep your grass on.
I'm not finished yet. I produced classic test matches last 3 years. South Africa, India, New Zealand. Cut me some slack.
So have you spoken to any of the pitchers from the other test venues this summer?
No, we don't see each other very much. We are, after all, 22-yard strips of turf at cricket grounds. Apart from Cardiff pitch, I spoke to him on Skype. He thinks he's very funny. He was much worse than me. As bouncy as a lead whale, but no one cared because England won.
Lord's Pitch, thank you very much for talking to us at what I know must be a very difficult time for you. Next time on Zolt's Talk, I'll be speaking to a boundary rope and asking it, during T20 matches, are you simply too close in? So, Jared, key part of this series has been the drops. As they say, catches win matches. Do they still say that? I mean, I was told that it rhymes, so therefore it's true. That's how sport works. Australia dropped Joe Root on noughts in Cardiff. That was, beyond key. That was a full security system of a drop. England dropped Steve Smith on 50 after he made a bit of a scratchy start at Lords. He went on to make double century, a million. I mean, technically a million. Yeah. I mean, actually only 200.
He clocked cricket.
Yeah,
the numbers went around.
Australia dropped Cook. Didn't turn out to be too crucial. England dropped Warner on nought in the second innings. The game was basically lost by then, but they could have had Warner under pressure for the rest of the series if he'd made had another failure there. And then in England's second innings, Ian Bell was dropped on 10 by Adam Voges after Peter Neville probably could have got it himself.
A non-drop.
Yeah, they got one run from that, took Bell to 11. But you thought at the time with a Root drop, with the Smith drop, that could be really important. With a Bell drop, you thought, yeah, that's probably not going to really make any difference whatsoever. And it duly didn't. So,
what's your key drop of the series? My
key drop of the series could still be Root, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
England probably don't win that test if Haddon doesn't drop that catch.
Yes. Yeah, I think if Haddon had caught that catch, by now it would have been 2-0 and Alistair Cook would be on trial for treason.
Well, rightly. I mean, the Smith one is quite interesting, but you think Australia would have still eked out some sort of score and then probably still put the pressure on England. But is there more drops than usual? Are we focusing too much on the drops? Is it just because I've said the word drop 7 times?
I don't know. I think the drops have been dropping at an unusually high drop rate. Certainly the key drops. But I guess you tend to only remember the key drops. If Root had been caught next ball, no one would have said, Root was dropped on naught, would they? Well, they said he was out for naught.
Yeah, they would have said he was dropped on naught and then went out.
Yeah, but they wouldn't still be banging on about it now 3 weeks later like I am.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Is it not
It's my fault.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, it's... So what I'm saying is, whichever team drops an opponent's key batsman who then goes on to make another 100, 150, 200 runs is probably going to regret it.
Wow. We're dropping the truth on you here.
So, Doc, Ian Bell promoted to number 3. Is that a reward? A punishment or a prayer?
Bit of all of those, I think, Frederick. Still, lovely player. Cricket is all about numbers. Bell won us the Ashes batting 5 in a year ending in 3. Maybe batting 3 in a year ending in 5 is just what the sledgehammer of eternal justice needs. But, you know, he's always looked like a number 3.
Apart from most of the times when he's actually batted at number 3.
Actually, he's got quite a decent record at 3. Averages nearly 40.
Still a bit of a punt bumping him up the order now, Doc. At the moment, he's not just not in sync, he's nowhere near the draining board. He's barely even in the kitchen.
Yes, the only time in my life I was that out of form was the season after I died.
This week has seen the end of one of cricket's most relevant and cutthroat tournaments, the World T20 qualifiers. Amateur cricketers from around the globe and a couple of professionals have had to brave the cold and wet of Ireland and Scotland, and far worse at times have had to hang out with Derek Pringle. All of this just to qualify for the next round of qualifying, where the whole tournament is pretty much rigged for only 1 or 2 of them to make it anyway. Qualification for qualifying is like turning up at your wedding and being given another engagement ring and a whole new date. In the final of the tournament, Scotland and the Netherlands. After the final was unfortunately rained off, the ICC had planned for a staring competition, but realised that if Peter Byron and Preston Momsen actually stared into each other's eyes, the solid ball of iron nickel alloy at the centre of the earth would actually explode. So instead they shared the tournament and, you know, saved the world.